Hi, I'm Ecto. I just watched the movie Fantastic Four First Steps, so let's talk about it. Well, I liked it, but I did not love it. If I was a parent, I might have loved it, but this is the kind of movie, even if you love it, the more you think about the movie, the less you will like it. Well, this part will become more clear when we get to the spoiler parts, but first, general impressions. Finally, a good-looking Marvel movie for once. We haven't had one of those since Infinity War back in the day in 2018. What great results you can get when you give the CGI department enough time to do their work. Hopefully Marvel will continue to give the CGI department enough time to do their work, because if this becomes standard and all future Marvel movies are gonna look like the Fantastic Four movie, we will truly be able to enjoy ourselves like in the good old days again. And I'm not exaggerating, this movie is truly gorgeous and colorful, kind of like the Superman movie from a few weeks ago. It really feels like you're absorbed into a comic book world, and I really love the retro 50s aesthetic of this movie. I believe this movie takes place on another Earth, not the usual one from the other MCU movies. So they put extra effort in, because that New York that we see in that movie does look nothing like the New York from our world. It looks more old-timey, even though with a lot of futuristic technology sprinkled in there thanks to Pedro Pascal's Mr. Fantastic. This is truly the most unique-looking Marvel movie. Talking about Mr. Fantastic, how were the Fantastic Four in this movie? The characters themselves were great and actually like a wholesome superhero family. I know the Fantastic Four is often talked about as Marvel's first family, but before watching this movie, I never perceived them that way. The two incarnations I grew up with were the live-action movies from the 2000s and the cartoon show of the same era called Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Heroes. In those versions, the Fantastic Four felt more like teammates than family. In the second movie, there's even a subplot about Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman potentially leaving the team. And if I don't misremember, in the cartoon there's an episode where they try to replace the Thing with She-Hulk because Mr. Fantastic finally managed to heal the Thing temporarily. The Fantastic Four First Step was truly the first time these characters felt like a family. Even the Thing and Johnny Storm have a brotherly relationship with each other. Not like in the version I grew up with. In the old movies they were straight up bullying each other. The new cast may not be as good looking as the 2000 counterpart, except for Pedro Pascal maybe, but acting wise everybody was on point, what they needed, because this movie is more character focused than action focused. There are like only 2 big action scenes. That reminds me, one complaint I got about the Fantastic Four is that they do not use their powers enough in this movie. No, correction. Mr. Fantastic and the Thing don't use their powers a lot. Susan Storm as Invisible Woman, and especially Johnny Storm as the Torch, use their power during the movie quite often, but before the final act, I remember Ben as the Thing only lifting one card to impress some kiss, and with Witcher stretching his arm once to reach the switch. Even afterwards, Mr. Fantastic only uses his stretchiness in one action scene. Plus, they kinda nerfed his powers for the movie. Once he gets stretched pretty good by the villain of the movie, spoilers, Galactus. He seemed to be in pain in that scene, and even his suit rips open. I always was of the impression that his stretchiness has no limits, but I guess I was wrong? Question mark? Talking about Galactus. How were the villains? They were comic book accurate, I guess. This might just be the first movie of the MCU's Fantastic Four, but you could consider this a remake of the second Fantastic Four movie of the 2000s, called Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Same premise, same plot, they just went for a less comic book accurate approach. Back in the day, they considered a giant guy in a purple suit who literally eats planets as too goofy and went for a more realistic, grounded approach. They turned Galactus into a fucking cloud. They made him a literal force of nature instead of a guy, but he still could communicate and hire a guy to be his herald and even grant his powers. Made no fucking sense, but that's the route they went for. So no surprise, the Fantastic Four First Steps movie's version is way better than the one of the old movies. He also feels more powerful and unstoppable in this movie than in the old 2007 one. Spoilers, they don't even manage to end him in this movie, but at least they fight him. In the 2007 version, they only fought the Silver Surfer and never Galactus, and at the end, the Fantastic Four aren't even the one to kill Galactus. Jessica Alba talked no use to Silver Surfer's ass into sacrificing himself to take out Galactus. The only complaint I got about the Fantastic Four First Steps version is that even though Galactus was a giant guy in a suit who eats planets in this movie, they did not make his fucking suit purple. I'm not even a giant Galactus fan. He truly is a bit too silly of a concept, even for comic standards. But the only thing I wanted to see in this movie was him in a purple suit. And don't tell me Marvel does not do purple. They did some stuff in purple the last few years. I have seen it. Sorry, this is truly nitpicky. It's just purple is my favorite color, and I love seeing things that are fucking purple. The Silver Surfer I love though. There are a lot of scenes in the movie where it looks like she's surfing on waves with a Silver Surfer board. It's a surfboard, duh, you will say. That sounds stupid to praise it, but The 2007 version also had one. It never looked like he was surfing, more like floating in space. Don't know why they turned the Silver Surfer in the 2025 movie into a woman, but it made me feel weird. It was like, is it just me? Or is the Silver Surfer woman kinda hot with all the silver covering her? And thank God there is a subplot of Johnny Storm talking about how hot he finds her, or I would have felt like a freak. Okay, let's go to the spoiler section now. Spoiler warning for everybody who hasn't watched the movie yet. You have been warned. Like in Superman, we are thrown into this wood without an origin story. At the start of the movie, it had been 4 years since the Fantastic Four had started to be active. The setup of this movie for these characters is even better than the one for Superman in his own movie, and I like the Superman movie much more. Through an in-universe television talk show, we get a montage of the Fantastic Four's origin and what they have been up to. It is established that they have helped protect New York from a lot of supervillains. The only villain name drops I recognized were Puppet Master and fucking Mole Man. Sorry, it has been some time since I watched that TV show. They put a lot of emphasis on Mole Man and even show clips of him. You don't get a lot of context in the movie, but you get more context with this comic. I don't know if all people get that comic, but they gave it to me when I entered my cinema to see the movie. It's written like you are a person in the universe reading it with articles about the Fantastic Four in between the pages. In the movie they say that in the end Sue Storm talked Mole Man into peace between Subterranea and New York. In the comic they tell you even more. They tell you that Mole Man and his forces attacked New York because stuff that happened on the surface impacted them negatively in Subterranea. And that the reason that Mole Man has a liking towards Sue Storm especially is because he knew her dad, who like her was nice to him and his kind. I mean, they tell you enough in the movie, but this comic is an extra bonus. Mole Man is not important to the plot like the other stuff they mention and or show in set montage. Even though later in the movie he helps evacuating people from New York by letting them into Subterranea, but it does a lot of world building. So in a few minutes they establish who the Fantastic Four are, how they got their powers, what they have been up to, and do a lot of world building, making you truly feel you are in a comic book world without wasting 120 minutes on an origin movie. Not everything fantastical about a world has to be shown in the movie, because you can't show it all, and if you try, your world will feel more empty or less fantastic, you could say.
Say that again?
Enough praises, let's go to the stupid stuff. The plot. So like in the 2007 movie, Galactus wants to eat Earth. While in the 2007 version, Mr. Fantastic has to localize the Silver Surfer first before encountering him, this version just shows herself, telling everybody, FYI, you're about to die. Galactus is hungry AF. It is on his way to eat your planet. Bye! I guess I understand that the Silver Surfer's job is to find planets for Galactus, but why would she tell the population of a planet that he's on his way? What's the purpose? Sounds like this could easily backfire because that would give, in theory, a planet time to build some resistance and fight Galactus on his arrival. I get he's that ancient all-powerful cosmic entity, but how can he be so sure that he will never encounter technology advanced enough societies that can fight back against him? Nevertheless, let's continue. The Silver Earth is scared and the Fantastic Four don't want that to happen, especially because of the start of the movie they established that Sue Storm and Reed Richards are expecting a baby. There's another side plot of the Thing falling for a school teacher. But that plot went nowhere, and I believe I saw a wedding ring on one of her ring fingers, if I don't misremember. So, sucks to be him. But for the most part, this movie is about the baby, Galactus coming for Earth, and the Silver Surfer. So, because they and the entire Earth don't wanna die, the Fantastic Four go to space with the futuristic space rocket to find Galactus to stop him somehow. They locate him near a planet, and right after they arrive in front of said planet, they see how Galactus' spaceship destroys it and starts to mine it? ? Before they can escape, Galactus' spaceship structure beam forces them inside. They get an audience with Galactus, and he's truly a giant guy controlling that even bigger spaceship. He is like, you want mercy? I exchange your planet for Sue Storm's baby. It gets established that Galactus is older than the current universe, and he is cursed to eat planets because of his endless hunger. He does not want that anymore. But before he can retire or die, he has to give his endless hunger, for no explained reason, to somebody else. And Reed Richards and Sue Storm's future baby seems to be a suitable host. At least your greatness Galactus seems sure of it. So, what do the Fantastic Four respond to Galactus' proposal? They reject it. Wait, what? Are you taking the fucking piss? Are you not seeing the giant guy in the chair who destroys planets? I know I'm no parent, but still, it's one life in exchange for billions. I would fucking take that deal.
I'll make that deal. How about you, Udovich? You make that deal?
I'd make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
I don't care how much you love your child. If you're in that situation where you don't sacrifice your child to literally save everybody you know, you're fucking stupid. You would fucking condemn us all, including yourself. Even in my cinema room, there was a little child who was like, are they retarded? It's one life for billions of lives. And I think a father next to him.
He's out of line, but he's right.
And don't come to me with ethical or moral application. It's a life or death situation. Nevertheless, let's continue. After them fantastic retards rejected treaty, Galactus says, "Then Silver Booty and I will take him by force and make him watch how I destroy your world." I think Galactus, after saying that, forces Zeus' body to go into labor somehow, and they try to escape with the baby. They do somehow, and during the first action scene that mostly involves them escaping their space shuttle while Sue gets broke, they manage to drop Silver Surfer temporarily in a black hole. She experienced lesbian space sex in that scene if you think about it. Doesn't matter. After that space scene, they get back to Earth, and the rest of the movie is about them trying to prevent Galactus from eating Earth. Since fighting and beating Galactus was out of the question for obvious reasons, in the end Reed Richards, who may not use his power often in this movie but is by far the most important character, comes up with the plan to teleport Earth to another place in the universe where Galactus can't easily find them. To do so, they need a lot of resources, and the entire world unites to try to realize Reed Richards' plan. At that point, they establish that they need a lot of electricity to realize the project of building teleport generators all around the world. So to do so, they make the entire world's population have electricity for specific hours, which might be the most unrealistic part of this movie. If you remember the dark 2020 days, when we as a collective were asked to stay home for a specific period of time, a significant number of people did not even bother to try. So if Galactus happened in real life, you can be sure that a lot of countries and people would not cooperate. In the time, we would need to convince everybody that the Galactus threat is real and to talk everybody into working together on a plan. Galactus would already have arrived and obliterated us. I bet even moments before the planet's destruction, a lot of people during their last moments would be like, fake news. Regardless, the Fantastic Four first steps ain't trying to be realistic, and they at least managed to realize the unrealistic operation. And right before they try to teleport Earth away, Silver Surfer arrives and destroys all the teleportation generators. I was like, of course this would happen. Richard, how are you one of the smartest men in the Marvel Universe? How could you not have expected the Silver Surfer to interfere with your plan and to secure Earth for Galactus? It's literally her only job, and you knew that! Can't believe he did not plan for destruction with Johnny or something. His subplot was literally trying to understand her and to decipher her native language. That kind of plan should have been in the cards. After destroying all the teleporter generators, but the one in New York, how convenient, she tries to abduct Zeus and Reed's baby, and Johnny Storm with his torch powers manages to stop her. Dead, and he manages to guilt-trip the fuck out of her with final messages from inhabitants of planets she guided Galactus to. Johnny takes basically Zeus' job from the 2007 movie to turn the Silver Surfer against Galactus. She just leaves and responds Earth for now and surfs away, meaning that Galactus has to take everything into his own hands. Since Galactus wants the baby, he first has to get it before he destroys and devours the planet. Reed knows that, so he positions his baby as bait on the last teleporter generator to teleport Galactus away instead of the entire planet. That way, without his spaceship, he would end up trapped on whatever planet he lands. That's what kind of happened during the last big action scene where all the Fantastic Four become active. They almost fell though, if the Silver Surfer wasn't guilt-tripped into pushing Galactus through the teleporter portal. In consequence of the final fight with Galactus, Sue Storm dies. But then her baby just arrives there. Somehow. Sue really birthed a god-level baby, and Galactus was talking no shit when he talked about making that baby his successor. Why did Mr. Fantastic's and Invisible Woman's genes give their baby godlike powers instead of giving him one or both of their powers? Because comic book. Apparently that's a thing in the comics, but I could not tell you more because I don't read Marvel comics. Anyways, I don't care. To me the kid reviving the mother feels like a Deus Ex Machina BS moment. Plus, did anybody really expect them to kill one of the Fantastic Four in the first movie? I suppose everything is set up to achieve a happy ending at the end of the movie. But does it? Because in the first post-credits scene you see Dr. Doom. Now they don't show Robert Downey Jr.'s face. At the end abducting the baby from Sue Storm. I guess the baby is going to be important to the plot of Avengers Doomsday. Anyways, in summary, this is a fun and very good looking Fantastic Four movie. An upgrade to its 2000s predecessor. We don't talk about the 2015 movie, but it still has a lot of flaws. So try not to think about this movie too hard, and you might enjoy it a lot more. Even though I criticized a lot of the plot, I really had fun with this movie. Like I said at the beginning, this is a movie that the more you think about it, the less you will like it. But compared to the last Marvel movies after Endgame, this was a piece of fresh air. The only Marvel movie since then before this movie I liked was Thunderbolts, Doctor Strange 2 and Spider-Man No Way Home, which I actually loved. But that movie came out in 2021 and in general, Marvel has been more of a letdown the last few years. Still would recommend watching this movie though, alone for how good looking it is. At the end, you still can like and enjoy a movie knowing it has flaws.